What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So I've got my updated Nourish Garuda build for you today. This one has gotten a little bit stronger after the shield getting changes and companion rework changes. We're actually going to have a full loadout guide today, where we'll go over all the weapons I'm using with Garuda, as well as some things you can look at when going for this big damage Garuda setup. We'll be doing full shield gating as well. There is no health tanking on this build. I will make a health tanking build in the future, but I just want to let you know this build is crazy with shield gating, so I highly recommend to do it in this exact form. Not saying there's not other ways you can do this too. Before we get into it and go over all this build and stuff like that, like nuking down Steel Path real quick, make sure you sub the channel. I really appreciate everyone that's been subbing recently. We just hit 39,000 subs on YouTube. I really appreciate that, guys, a lot. Thank you so much. But if you do enjoy Warframe videos, build videos, farming guides, news videos, blah, 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 this is the place for you. Make sure to hit that sub button. Also, check out the live stream channel as well. I'll be live streaming a ton of Plague Star when that comes out on the 7th. But please don't use this build in this video in Plague Star, or you're not going to be really as efficient as I'd like it. This is not really meant for Plague Star, so let's get right into it. The uses for this Garuda build are going to be full shield gate from one ability cast, slash procs and viral procs on demand all over the place, like AoE viral and slash procs. We've got shielding, we've got infinite energy, we've got tractor beam Torid pulling enemies in really fast. And is that it? We can one-shot Acolytes too when we use the right weapon. I wasn't using the right weapon there, so I wouldn't really recommend a Torid on Acolytes with this build, because we got a special Torid build for taking out shielded enemies instantly too. So let's get right into it and start discussing all the things in this video. So first off, we've got Garuda Prime. Let's go ahead and start showing some builds here. So for Garuda Prime, we've got Archon Shards, 3 Archon Shard Crimsons, 2 of them being Duration, 1 of them being Strength. You could go for a third one on Duration if you wanted to. We've got 2 Casting Speed Tau Shards Amber, just to make your cast abilities faster. These are must-have shards on Garuda. A normal one would work too. If you do not run casting speed shards on Garuda, please run Natural Talent. It is just so much smoother to play Garuda with these abilities, or with these shards, because this ability right here, Bloodletting, is going to be used quite often, and it feels terrible without casting speed, as does Dread Mirror, Nourish, and Seeking Talons. You get animation locked a lot with this frame if you don't use casting speed. So as far as the build is different from before. This is a Nourish shield gating build. It's not going to be like a full tank build like the Molt build is usually. So, things that we've got here that are new. We've got the new Catalyzing Shields mod. This is if you haven't played for a while, this is basically a Decaying Dragon Key, which reduced your shields. That is a mod now, so it has to take up a mod slot. Right now we've got 74 shields. If we took that off, we'd have 370 shields. So, to get our full shield getting duration of 1.33 from a single ability cast like this, we need to have Catalyzing Shields on here to give us reduced shields. You could definitely go for a shield capacity build, but that is not what this is. We've got Rolling Guard, give you more invincibility. So invincibility from Shield Gate, invincibility from Rolling Guard. Her 4th ability does give you invincibility as well while you're channeling it. And you get some brief invincibility from her Dread Mirror as well. So lots of gray health here. We've got Brief Respite, a very important part of this build. When we cast an ability, we will convert the energy spent into overshields. So we've got Blind Rage making our energy costs go up because it gives us negative efficiency but a ton of extra power strength. That makes the energy cost of Dread Mirror, her first ability, go from 25 energy to 38.75 energy. We are using some special mods on our pistol to make it where we can fully shield gate from one ability cast, even Dread Mirror. So lots of invincibility time on this build. We've got Stretch for more nuking area from her 1. The the blood orb of this thing can be affected by viral damage multipliers of Nourish, making a viral slash orb when used with her 4. So we're doing like multi-million damage a lot of the time. Arcane Arachne does work on the blood orb. It's very annoying to proc in my opinion, but if you want the maximum damage, I'd recommend doing this, as it does affect her blood orb, as does Vigorous Swap. But continuing with the build, Stretch for more nuking range, Overextend for more nuking range. Range will also affect how far you can jump an enemy with Dread Mirror. We can jump 70 meters onto an enemy, hilariously, which is really far. We've got Umbra Intensify for power strength, Prime Flow because she has a massive energy pool. Prime Flow technically can be taken off if you want to run Equilibrium, but I'm telling you right now, if you run a Blind Rage, you got 155 energy cost 4. So I'd recommend Prime Flow no matter what. But as far as the Arcanes, you got Molt Reconstruct, a must-have Arcane on Garuda. Basically, whenever you cast an ability, it's kind of like Brief Respite. Brief Respite is like how much energy you spent becomes shields. Reconstruct is how much energy you spent becomes health. So we get full shield gate and full heal when casting our abilities on Garuda with this build. Arcane Arachne is on here, like I said, after you wall latch, you get increased damage for all weapons. Technically also for her Blood Orb too. You can take this off for Molt Augmented if you wanted to for some more power strength and not having to wall latch, basically. So let's go ahead and show how this works. I'm going to do no weapons here. I'm going to go no weapons. Let's hope I can just jump in there and not die. We've also got our Nautilus Sentinel, which I'll talk about here briefly. So the way this will work is we're going to cast Nourish. I should have not even picked up that orb. So we're at low energy. I cast 3. Nourish energy multiplier affects her 3. We're going to jump on them from 70 meters away, pull them all together, and they should all be dead. So that is what you can do with this build. Funny thing about Arcane Arachne and just like wall latching in general with Garuda, as you saw right there, while you're wall latching, if you target an enemy with Dreadmere, you don't actually jump on them. You just keep slicing them from the wall. If I got off the wall, of course, we jump over to them, and then again, same thing as before. Probably didn't even need Nourish there that time, but yeah, 4.3 million. For some reason, she didn't take the damage. So we can start talking about the Torid build since she didn't die from that damage. Okay, so the Torid build we got today is going to be meant for using the Nautilus Sentinel to pull enemies together quite reliably. We've got a Toxin build on here. We're also using the Arcane Primary Blight. If you don't have that one, just use Merciless or Deadhead. But Primary Blight is going to be proccing from Toxin proc. So we've got a base Toxin build on our Torid. And as you can see, even a Toxin build takes care of that heavy gunner very easily. So the reason we have a Toxin build on the Torid is because of our Nautilus. We need to have 3 procs on the enemy before they die to make it where the Nautilus will pull more enemies in with a Manifold Bond. We'll talk about that in a second here, but the idea of this build is we want to get 3 procs on the enemies, including Nourish from our frame. We'll get Viral, so we got Viral. It's got base Toxin, so no elemental mods needed. We got Toxin on the build, so we got Viral, Toxin, and Hunter Munitions will cause slash procs 30% of the time on a crit. So we're getting slash, Viral, and Toxin. Not only is that going to be good for, lots of damage over time, but Toxin damage bypasses enemy shields, directly affecting their health. So you can use this on Corpus, you can use it on Grenier, you can use it on Corrupted. You can use it very well on Corrupted because there's corrupted enemies that are shielded, there's corrupted enemies that have armor. So Hunter Munitions bypasses enemy armor with those slash procs. Very good for all-rounder build. But here's the Arcane Primary Blight on Toxin status effect. Increase crit damage and multi-shot for 12 seconds, text for 40 times. Really, guys, if you don't have this, don't feel like you need to have this. It is a niche thing at best, and it's probably worse math-wise in a lot of situations, too. But just going over all the rest of the builds, we got crit mods here, we got a crit Riven, we got Bane of the Grenier. In the footage, I was using Bane of the Corrupted because we're in a Corrupted mission. Galvanized Aptitude because they're going to have more than 3 procs on them, hopefully. And we got Galvanized Chamber on kill, increased multi-shot. We got Hammer Shot on here. There's probably a different slot or a different mod you could use in this slot. But yeah, the flexibility is quite high with Manifold Bond weapons. We've also got Vigilante Supplies giving us increased crits. We've got so much crit chance that we've got a 15.9 multiplier and a 230% crit chance on our beam. That's a little bit high. 10.7 multiplier on the grenade launcher shot, too. So just going over why we do this stuff, or rather why I'm doing this stuff, we've got the Nautilus Sentinel right here. This thing is amazing with the cordon ability. So basically, we're turning our Torid into a tractor beam. It's giving it like CC sort of, where when we kill an enemy with 3 procs on them, it will reset the cooldown of cordon, pulling more enemies in, combined with the Manifold Bond mod. Killing an enemy with 3 or more unique status effects reduces companion ability cooldowns by 3 seconds. This is a 15-second cooldown, so you kill 4 or 5 enemies with procs on them, and you can just immediately spam it again. So very nice there. Spare parts, I definitely was actually about to take this off right before the video started, so you can put spare parts on there if you want to. I believe the cooldown is affected by Manifold Bond. I don't actually know that for sure, but Prime Animal Instinct is also going to give you a bunch of loot radar, which you don't really have. We have built-in enemy radar now in Warframe, but we don't have built-in enemy, or we don't built-in loot radar, so this is still useful in that regard. But yeah, this is more of a flex slot, whenever you want to run in this slot. Spare parts also technically works. Manifold Bond is a must-use mod on this build. Tenacious Bond also helps our Torid have a bunch of extra crit damage multiplier as well, as long as we equip our Sentinel with a high crit chance weapon. Prime Regen is a must-have mod, reducing its respawn timer by 35 seconds. Vacuum to pick up that sweet loot. Aerial Bond, just because this is a build meant to have this thing alive as much as possible. So airborne kills decrease companion recovery timer by 3 seconds and 9 seconds for headshot kill. It also makes a slowing field while you're airborne, but who cares about that? When I was testing this out for Korra's Whipclaw does not work with this. I have not tested out the Blood Orb, but we can get so many kills with the Torid Beam while mid-air anyway that it should get the companion back really quickly, because it's only going to take 25 seconds anyway. So each kill will give you 3 seconds reduce on that. Accelerated Deflection, giving it reduced shield recharge delay, so it can hopefully shield gate before something kills it. And if it does die, Momentous Bond, kill one Eximus and it's back, basically. Guardian, as this will give us lots of free shields, and it does work with Manifold Bond, giving us tons and tons of shields. So yeah, Tenacious Bond, you'd have a high crit chance weapon for your Sentinel, and here we go. We got the Vulklok right here, and as you can see, Vigilante mods on here as well. So we're getting even more red crits on our Torid, getting that 15.9 multiplier applied multiple times. But yeah, the mods here are Viral and Electric. Manifold Bond does apply status procs on the Precepts. Okay, so moving on to a important thing here, we got the Tenant Cycron. Now, any pistol could work for this. The big thing you need here is you need Augur mods. You need Augur Seeker and Augur Pact. This will give us enough shields conversion for energy to make it where our first ability, Dreadmere, is a full shield gate for 74 shields. The rest of this stuff does not really matter. We're throwing on some Corrosive and Magnetic because they're not going to have that on them already, as we're running for Viral and Toxin on our primary. So just more procs for Galvanized Diffusion or whatever it's called. We've got a Riven that is just giving increased fire rate and multi-shot too, just to get more procs. And this is more of a procer right here. I can technically put on normal status mod, but whatever. Sometimes it will get kills, so it's fine with me. Moving on to the last weapon here, we got the Praedos. Oh, I should show the Incarnon to the Torid. We got Final Fusillade on the Torid, Swift Deliverance, and Survivor's Edge. A little bit extra status chance to get those 3 procs on them. But for the Praedos, we got, this is our Anti-Acolyte weapon, technically, although we could technically nuke the Acolyte with our 1 if we do it right. Sprint speed increase. Each enemy hit by the slam gives you more combo, very easy for building up your combo. Increased parkour velocity, and increased heavy attack wind-up speed. The Anti-Acolyte build is going to be corrosive. Hey, guess what, guys? I finally bought a maxed out Prime Fever Strike, so let's go ahead and throw that on there. Anti-Acolyte corrosive build, the Riven is heavy attack efficiency, so that means if you have heavy attack efficiency from like focus energy and a Riven, you will not lose your heavy attack hits when you do a heavy attack. So we'll be at maximum combo, we'll only lose like 10, 20 hits when we do a heavy attack. So that's very nice. And that's going to be mainly what I recommend that you do, is just bring an Acolyte slaying weapon, bring an ad clearing weapon, and those are the things you should be looking for when you're going for this kind of build. So as far as where would this build be good for, this build is really good in a lot of places. It doesn't really have any CC for Demolus, because I don't think Cordon really works on a Demolus, but we do have Magus Lockdown equipped on our Operator, which I basically never take off. So if you want to lock down a Demolus, you're not going to have any armor strip, you can maybe switch to a Nairu. The focus tree on this build is not important, so I guess you could do that. You could go to a Nairu focus tree and put on the Corroding Strike, I believe it's called, that will remove enemy armor and shields. Well, there's an ability that removes shields too. That's how you could use this in Disruption. And yeah, it does have full shield gate from 1 ability cast, but here's the thing. I actually get... Now, something I do wrong with this build. I'm having so much fun using the Torid, I stop actually shield gating. You'll probably see... I might actually die in this footage because I'm like, oh man, the Torid is so much fun. It's pulling all the enemies together with Nautilus. This is great. And I don't look at my shield bar, and this is a shield gating build, so you need to make sure that you're shield gating constantly. Either casting your 4 for full shield gate, casting your 1 for full shield gate. You could technically even shield gate from Nourish if you wanted to, but you can't shield gate from your 3 technically. So as long as you keep your 3rd ability active where you're getting your energy back, make sure you got Nourish active to get more energy from that 3. You can cast abilities non-stop on this frame with this build. You can also kill enemies non-stop too with the weapons we're showing here. I really didn't highlight the Blood Orb nuking as much just because I enjoy using these red crit weapons. But yeah, you could literally just main the Blood Orb for the footage in the background and do the same kind of thing. Something that you could definitely change in the future though if you want to is if you don't like the fact I'm using Vigorous Swap and Arcane Arachne, which, I'm not going to say that it's it for everybody. Look at me, I'm wall latching, who wants to be doing that? It's more damage, but you can definitely make it a more, chill version where you could take off Vigorous Swap for another range mod like Augur Reach. And if you do that, you can replace one of your shield getting mod or one of your Augur mods on your pistol with a different mod too. Or you could just, like I said earlier, you can put Multi-Augmented instead of Arcane Arachne. It's going to be probably, still a lot of damage. Not even probably. I've used this before without Arcane Arachne. It's still really good, but, I'm just showing you what is some of the most effective damage I have found. You can also use Vigorous Swap if you really want to. You can use Vigorous Swap, throw on some Cycron procs, get them magnetic corrosive heat, and then switch to your Torid, and then there'd just be big damage. So it's really up to you guys. Good flexibility here, no weapons needed. But also for the Manifold Bond Torid thing, I just like the Torid because it's got so much AoE and so much range, and lots of chaining too. So it makes getting those 4 or 5 kills with the procs really easy. As you see in the footage background, like they're just getting pulled all over the place. It's kind of like, it's just like a goof troop up in here with the enemies are basically in like a bounce house. They're just getting dragged all over the floor moonwalking. So that's basically it for the video, guys. Hope you found it fun and helpful. I finally got out a Garuda video. Even though I keep saying, I'm going to make a Garuda video. I did this time, and here it is. The Korra video definitely will probably be next Monday now, because, hey, I got a God Roll stat stick for I got a God Roll ribbon for the stats that people kept telling me to use. So I want to do my due diligence. I got the Ceramic Dagger, and I got the Magistar, and I got all my old stat sticks, too. So we can do a full deep dive Korra video, showing the stuff that I use and stuff that is the most powerful. So, either way, guys, hope you found this video fun, helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Appreciate your support. Take it easy. Bye.